Hello world, it is Tuesday, November 22nd, 2011. I hope everybody's having a fantastic start to their week so far. And today I'm going to kick off this week by doing my review of the Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn Part 1, which I saw on Saturday. Now, this is the first part of the Twilight Grand Finale. I mean, essentially they did the same thing that Harry Potter did, that they divided the last book into two movies. So they could make a shit ton more money out of the movie. So, the first half of Breaking Dawn Part 1, is based off the first half of the fourth book in Stephenie Meyer's Vampire Universe. So, the first book, the way that Breaking Dawn the book works, as you remember, I reviewed the book probably about a few weeks to probably about a month ago or so, I can't really remember. The book is divided up into three parts. There's a first part, which is Bella, which is the section is called Bella, a second section, which is called Jacob, and a third section, which is Bella's section again. The first movie covers both the first Bella section and the Jacob section. So the first two sections of the book are covered in this first movie. So the movie begins with the marriage and honeymoon of Bella and Edward. However, the happy romance comes to a complete standstill when it discovers that Bella is inexplicably pregnant with a half vampire, half human hybrid. I say inexplicably because, as I like to call it, it's one of the biggest loopholes in literary history. How can a vampire with no other liquids or bodily fluids in him besides blood get a girl pregnant? I don't know. So the pregnancy begins to take a toll of Bella and those around her, especially Edward and Jacob, who Jacob abandons his pack to protect Bella. Now here's what's good about Breaking Dawn Part 1. I have to give some kudos to Taylor Lautner, because Taylor Lautner probably gives the most credible acting job out of the three leads. I mean, Kristen Stewart still can't act. Robert Pattinson just does the same uncomfortable looking expression the entire movie. And, while his performance isn't really Oscar-worthy, Taylor Lautner has definitely grown into the role of Jacob very well. Showing that his arrogance and constantly relaxed behavior is just sort of like a front for the pain and sadness and worry and essentially love that he feels for Bella. And he was able to accurately achieve that. He kind of makes Jacob the only sort of two-dimensional character in the entire plot, in the entire movie. He gives Jacob that appearance of a two-dimensional character. Because, like I said, his cocky, arrogant attitude is just a front, essentially, throughout the entire movie. So, another thing that I really liked about Breaking Dawn, the only thing that's really good, another thing that's really good about Breaking Dawn Part 1 was that it was very risky. The film took some great risks with the sex scenes, which were all non-existent in the book. If you ever read the book, when Edward and Bella have sex, it's just, okay, we're just gonna fade to black, come back now, it's the after sex cuddling. So, and the film's very violent and disturbing conclusion. And these risks definitely paid off at times. These were definitely very adult themes. And considering when I saw the movie with my fiance on Saturday, there was probably kids who were probably as old as probably as young as probably 10, maybe even 8 or 9, going to the movie with their parents, specifically like their moms. There's people that young going to see this movie. Like I said, it's very risky to put, and these were definitely adult themes were presented in a way that was kind of very acceptable to a PG-13 rating. But still, it was very, especially the end, the violent vampire birth, was very, that kind of pushed it a little bit. And I'm kind of glad that they took that risk, because it definitely paid off, because it was like, okay, we're going, for people who really aren't attached to the Twilight movies, who really don't have their attentions grabbed, this was a really great way to grab their attention with these kind of more risky scenes. So I really give credit to that. Another thing that was really interesting, it was just more of a little personal preference for me, is that there was this scene in the movie where there was a flashback of Edward a few years after he became a vampire. And he would go around killing humans and stuff like that, and they actually show that, and they actually, it's a very dark scene, and it's just, like seeing, slick, cunning, a silent killer, very, dark, very, very evil, like what a vampire should be, essentially, unless you're not in the Twilight universe. So it makes you forget for 2 seconds while these flashbacks are happening that you're in a Twilight movie. Now, that's all about the good I have to say about Breaking Dawn. Now, here's the bad. First off, Kristen Stewart. I'm sorry, she gives her acting job in the film nearly ruined it for me. Like, her acting job alone could have ruined the entire movie for me. I mean, I think from movie to movie, her acting job has been getting so much worse. And this time, it just takes, it just has crashing down in this installment. It was not fun to watch her on the scene, in the installment. It was just, it was just not fun. It was just, seeing Kristen Stewart, open her mouth and try to act in the beginning of the movie was just like, it was just awful. It was just awful, I'm sorry. And another thing that was really bad about Breaking Dawn was that the movie was just boring as fuck. I mean, what you guys know that if you guys ever watched my review of the book Breaking Dawn, I love the first half of the book. For me, that is like my favorite part of the entire Twilight Saga. That is just, it is so interesting, it's so compelling, it's more, there's more stuff going on. So let's think, so more specifically, see what happens is, the first half deals with Bella's pregnancy, right? But right after she gets pregnant, the book switches focus to Jacob. So by Bella not being the main character, the first half of the book allows you to focus more on the other characters and the relationships that are forming and the situations that are forming as a result of Bella's pregnancy. While she is the center of attention, because everything, her pregnancy is the spouting point for all these conflicts and all these different things that shape these characters' relationships, makes for a really fascinating read. And I was coming into this movie really looking forward to that. And they completely fucked it up. Because they streamlined the story, which they do a lot of times, which is understandable, because you have to fit into a 2.5 hour movie. You can't be Lord of the Rings and nearly be 3 hours long. Only Lord of the Rings could do that. So they streamlined the story to focus, instead of focusing on the other characters, it's like, oh, let's focus it back to boring, plain Bella. With zero personality, let's put her back in the focus. And it just makes the movie boring as a result. And many of the complex relationships and the different conflicts that are a result of Bella's pregnancy are completely ignored. And it made this movie so boring. It's just, oh, we're all going to sit around Bella. Here, another scene of people sitting. It's just, it ruins the dynamic that the first half of the book had that made it such an interesting, fascinating read. And it was just completely devoid of that. And it was just absolutely awful. It frustrated me so much. I think it's because that I read the book first. But it's just, I really had strong feelings about the first half of Breaking Dawn. Because it was definitely, like I said, the best read out of the books. And it's just, out of all the Twilight books. And it was just, that was sorely missing. And it was just awful. So, another thing that really frustrated me about Breaking Dawn was there's really tons of pointless scenes. The film was muddled with them that it really did nothing to drive the plot forward. I mean, where were the people editing this movie? Like, for example, there's this one scene where it was after Bella and Edward leave the wedding, and they fly to Brazil. They're in Rio, and they're driving through Rio to go to the boat to go to the island of Esme, where all the sex happens, and that's where their honeymoon takes place. So what happens is that they're driving by, and they drive by like this like the street party in Rio, and Bella, like pretending to look happy, like looks and see, oh, wonder what is that, Either that or she's giving the same vacant blank expression. You can't really be too sure with Kristen Stewart. So they go and stop, and they go check it out, and they go dance, and they have a kiss, and it's really a 5-minute scene that does nothing to drive the plot forward, and it's just boom, like nothing happened. It's like, what the hell was the point of that? And the film is muddled with them, like really muddled with them, and it's so frustrating. It's just, really, it's like, where the hell were these people editing the movie? They think, oh, this will drive the plot forward. What the hell? Really? Either way, the bottom line. So the film, like I said, the film took some great risks with more adult themes that paid off, but it's still essentially a boring, bastardized version of the original source material. And it is, let me just say it right now, it's the worst of the Twilight movies so far. Let's just pray to God that part 2 is better. That's all. Let's just pray to God that part 2 is better. So yeah, that's pretty much it for today. I'm sorry for my strong views and use of more language. It's just, this movie kind of really frustrated me. Because I guess I'm looking at more of a person who read the book and comparing it to that may be the case. And if that's the case, I'm sorry. I was trying to remain as impartial as possible when writing this review, but I was completely incapable of doing that. So, in that note, I am sorry. So next, as I said, my next video is going to be my list of 5 favorite vampires. So, I haven't really written it out yet. Of course, I'm not going to reveal it to you until my video. I don't know if I'm going to have the chance to make a video before the break. And if I don't, I hope everybody has a happy Thanksgiving. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And I will talk to you guys later. Alright, peace.